Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you. Mother's Day can be tricky territory for ministers. I have discovered this. I had quite a few friends who struggled. They, because of different reasons, maybe not able to have children, or fractured relationships with their children or mothers. Some don't even come to church on Mother's Day, and I bless you on your journey. And so I had given one of those talks about it can be a hard thing, because I had heard when I didn't mention that before, and that Sunday I gave that talk, I got a really angry email from a mom who's like, I just wanted to be celebrated today, and you're talking about how hard it is. So I felt like, boy, you just can't win sometimes. So please know, I'm trying to bring love and healing here, and if what we're offering today doesn't hit you where you need to be hit, I'm so sorry. But it is a complex thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and we love our moms, and I love my mom, and it's a complex thing. There's a lot there. I saw it was a mom had posted that this is a young mom with kids. She said, trying to clean the house with kids is like brushing your teeth with Oreos. That's an image. It's an impossible job. So I really set myself up for success today, because I'm giving a talk on anger on Mother's Day. I don't know what I was thinking. We're doing this whole month on the language of emotions, and we're trying to rehabilitate what sometimes in the Unity movement we have considered negative emotions, and discovered that there may be power here for us that we have been cutting ourselves off from. And so I'm dipping into a beautiful book called The Language of Emotions by Carla McClellan. And last week we kind of set it up, and I talked about the three states that we have with emotions. They are flow state, mood state, and raging rapids. And sometimes what we consider to be anger, we're only associating with that raging rapids. When nobody likes to be around someone who's just out of control anger. But there are other ways that we can engage with our anger that's really healthy and empowering. So that's what we're talking about today. Here's what Carla McClellan writes. If I were to personify anger, I would describe it as a mix between a stalwart castle sentry and an ancient sage. Anger sets your boundaries by walking the perimeter of your soul and keeping an eye on you and the people around you and your environment. If your boundaries are broken through the intensity of others or in any other way, anger comes forward to restore you to your sense of strength and separateness. The questions for anger are these: what must be protected and what must be restored? Isn't that beautiful? That's a different way of thinking about anger, isn't it? She talks about it in the book. It's just walking the perimeters. And boundaries are an interesting thing. That's actually how I got to this series for this month. I was like, just having some interactions with a few of you, I realized, we need to talk about boundaries more, don't we? I could just feel that that's something we probably need to teach. And it's something that, depth psychology did not exist when the Unity original teachings came around. So we've been sort of adding some of these things in that actually they're not in opposition to our teaching at all. They strengthen the practice of unity. When we understand that how complex the human mind is, how much emotions play a part in our experience, if we begin to work with this energy in beautiful and concrete and, coherent ways, it actually empowers our ability to manifest our dreams through the use of these technologies that we teach in Unity. Princess Hemphill describes boundaries like this: it's the distance from which I can love you and me simultaneously. Isn't that good? Because have you ever loved someone in a way that wasn't loving towards yourself? I see a lot of nods. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands. But most of us have. Even though most of us not tend towards codependence, we've all experienced at one time or another. That we will sacrifice our own well-being to love somebody else. But there is a stance There is a distance. I like that word. And she uses the word separateness very clearly. We teach unity. We're all one with each other, and we're all one with God. But there is another perspective that we're all individuals. We're all having our own experience, and we have volition, we have agency, and we have free will. And when we use it in healthy ways, it enables all of us to get better and to grow. Another teacher talked about boundaries, that boundaries is not putting a fence around you so nobody can get to you. It's teaching people where the door is. Can you feel that? And so it requires consciousness. It requires you to know where you are in the moment. And some moments you're open for a conversation, and some moments you're not. Do you know the difference? Do you know when it's time to have that conversation or not? That's that sentry, checking you out, making sure you're safe. If you'll listen, you'll know when it's time. My dear friend Maggie Cole, who loves the sound of her voice, when she always talks about God's timing is perfect. God is always on time. And as we trust our intuitive nature, we will know when it's the time to have that direct communication about when a boundary was violated or just establishing where the boundary is. It's really, really good for us. Good for us to know that we get to take care of ourselves. That putting yourself higher on the priority list, and I've been using those words with a lot of you lately as I've been having one-on-one conversations. And just inviting people to put yourself, I don't say, if you can't put yourself first, because I know some of you are dealing with major stuff in your families. And you have to put that child first for now. You have to put that person there, but put yourself higher in the priority list. You cannot give from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself is loving others too. As I mentioned, there are three, how does she call them? States with all of the main emotions. And next week, Reverend Stacy's going to talk to us all about sadness. Wah, wah. And Shirley's going to be talking about fear. I perceive Shirley as having no fear whatsoever, but we'll see what she brings us on that week. I'll be leading on Tuesday with about 21 of us from Unity of Houston. We're going on a sacred pilgrimage to Ireland, and so I'll be checking in, though. So I'll just make sure that they're going to do a good job, and I know that they will. But the three states, the flow state of anger is a quiet watchfulness. It doesn't feel like anger, but it's just a gentle awareness. I'm here, you're there. I'm paying attention to how you speak to me. I'm paying attention to my responses. It doesn't feel like what we think of as anger, but it's healthy anger. It's the flow state. The mood state of anger, this can show up in different ways. It might be a quick flash of anger. It's not the thing that gets out of control. You just get a little, you ever have that? Yes, you do. We all do. It might be sort of a lingering low-level resentment. If you've driven on the Houston freeways, I trust you know what I'm talking about. Might bloom into something more. Irritation. That's a mood state of anger. You ever just have a day, they're just irritating me. You ever have that day? Those are mood states. They're not wrong. They're natural. It's our natural response to things. And all of it is an invitation. All of it is communication from your soul saying, pay attention. Last week I talked about the three ways that the soul gets our attention, or the universe gets our attention: the gentle whisper, the gentle tap on the shoulder, or the cosmic 2x4. Pay attention to these earlier stages. And the raging rapids, it's rage. Rage becomes fuel for violence, both physical and psychic. We want to avoid that stage as much as we can. And we also want to avoid people who are in that stage. Take care of yourself. But some of us have thought that that's what anger is, and so we don't want anything to do with it, so we don't express it, we don't regulate it, we don't tend to integrate it. What we do instead is we sit on it. Oh, I'm just not going to, because I go to Unity and I'm not going to be angry. How does that work for you? Suppression and repression do not work. Because here's the thing. If you experience childhood trauma, and many of us have, and it was not safe for us to express anger when we were being abused. And so what we had to do is we had to hold that anger in, and we just went to fear. That anger is still in us. Did you know that? sometimes when you run into someone, and I heard it was a Catholic priest said it this way, you may be bleeding on me, but I didn't cut you. That people carry wounds that have not been healed. And anytime there is childhood trauma, anger was suppressed in the body, repressed. And there's work we can do. I'm a big proponent of therapy. I mean, it's just been my path. If that's not yours, great. But I've also needed recovery work. I've needed these teachings that we hold here in Unity, all in a way to sort of clean out the past so I can get to as pure of an opening for God as I can be while in these 60, 70, 90 years I get here, hope, that's the work, and it will never end. But we have to be willing to engage in the work. Ephesians 4:26 says this, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Metaphysically, what this means is that anger happens. If we have a body, you're going to get mad. Remember that, speaking of Mother's Day, you remember the old saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy? That was true in my household. Be angry, but do not sin. What do we think of sin? What does it mean for us in Unity and New Thought? It means missing the mark of our ideal. It means not acting from love. So what we want to do is find some way to experience our anger without acting out from it and hurting others from the way we were hurt. And this is work. I'm going to come back to this at the end of the talk. Actually, I'm going to give us some ideas of ways that we can begin to, I often say, discover, uncover, and discard the old wounds that are blocking us from our good. What I'd like to talk to you now about is the way that we know what a boundary is, the ways when we know when a boundary has been violated. There are two kinds of boundaries that cause anger. There is our personal boundary, our space, our need for self-care and safety. When that is violated, that will cause anger. But there's another way that we hold something so sacred and so dear to us. Well, so I was taught in my recovery work that if you spot it, thank you, recovery people, that a lot of when I'm having a reaction, it has nothing to do with you. It's a projection of my unhealed past. That's sometimes my anger is not about the car on 59 that just cut me off. It triggered something from my childhood. So if I'm spotting and I'm judging people left and right, I'm going to talk about judgment next month too. I thought, see, I pay attention to how y'all are doing, and I know what you need. That's part of my job. Yeah, I'm paying attention to how y'all are doing, and I know what you need. We're going to work on judgment a little bit. So that's just called being triggered. That's called projecting our stuff outward onto others. But there is another way that we experience anger that is holy and righteous. What do you think about that? Years ago, I did some work at the Big Sky Retreat with Greg Montana, and he did several days of processes in small groups and writing and speaking and movement. And we came out of all of this work with him. It felt like hours and hours of work. Everyone at the retreat arrived with 2 words, which he described as our heart virtues. He said, whatever those words are for you, these are the things that you came into this life to experience and express these 2 things, and it will never change your entire life. It's the shape of your soul. It's the high and holy purpose. You are incarnate in human form. And my 2 words, my virtues, are authenticity and compassion. Those of you who know me, does that sound right? They're important to me. And when I see those things violated in the world or in this church, I get angry. Now, I'm still not free to rage against anybody. That's never going to be a healthy response. But if I can begin to use the anger I see when wrong is committed in the world in a way that hurts my heart, I can channel that energy into positive change for myself and for us all. There is evidence of this happening everywhere if we'll pay attention. I thought of 3 things, the way this works. In the abolition of slavery got people really mad. And so it brought us incredible people like Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, many of whom were formerly enslaved themselves, who knew the wrong of this evil thing, and they used that anger in productive ways to educate us and to keep moving the energy forward. But there were also white allies that were required for this work. People like Abigail Adams. Did you know that? John Quincy Adams' wife was a huge abolitionist. Harriet Beecher Stowe, John Brown. He might have taken his anger a little too far sometimes, but it was all part of people who were outraged by what they saw in the world and were moved into coherent, positive movements for change that helped us all. Candy Lightner, her daughter was tragically, horrifically killed by a drunk driver. And she took the pain and the anger, and she formed something called Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Did you know this story? It has reduced the number of auto fatalities by people who are intoxicated, and it still happens, but then it became, the laws strengthened because of her work. People changed. The whole designated driver thing happened. It changed the world because of her anger. There's a group right now, we have members in this community. Reverend Marla Regal is one of a group called Moms Demand Action. Do you know what the number one cause of death for children in this country is? Do you know? Guns. It's not cancer, it's guns. And so this group, Moms Demand Action, is not trying to outlaw guns. They're working for gun safety. Let's protect our kids. We didn't get rid of drinking or driving, did we? With Mothers Against Drug. I mean, we just found better ways to be more safe with it. In June, also in June 22nd, we're gonna bring some awareness. It's Gun Violence Awareness Month, and we're going to see what we can do. I grew up with guns. I am very comfortable with guns. I am very uncomfortable with gun violence, particularly against the innocent. And is there a way we can take it out of the political rhetoric and this side against that side and begin to work together for common sense approaches to increase safety in our country? It's happened before. Can we do it again? I'm a little mad about it now that I'm talking about it. I feel it. It's okay. We can begin to use our anger in constructive ways, personally and in the world. It's energy. It causes us to move. How many of you, don't raise your hands. You'll probably see me wanting to raise mine. How many of you ever gotten out of a bad relationship because you've had enough? You got mad. I've done it. Some of you are insisting on raising your hands. All right, I love that. I remember that anger that rose up in me, and it's like, I deserve to be treated differently. And it was not sick anger. It was not my wounded past. It was something in me that rose up in anger saying, this is who I am. I deserve better than this. So personally and collectively, we can notice that holy anger and begin to use it to fuel positive change in our life. Carl McLaren writes this: when your anger flows freely, you won't even know it's there. It simply helps you maintain your boundaries, your inner convictions, and your healthy detachments. Healthy anger sets your boundary and helps you engage more effectively because it allows you to relate more authentically and more respectfully. So the last thing I want to talk about, and she uses this word, which I absolutely love, honor. She says anger can help us restore honor. Honoring ourselves, honoring the autonomy of other people, honoring that desire we have to see the world be a better place. From the book of James, chapter 4. What causes quarrels and causes fights among you? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? You desire and you do not have, so you murder. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. This is a deep teaching. Who do we ask for our goods, our needs to be met? The divine, God, Spirit. And when we think that we can manipulate the circumstances in the world and other people to get what we need, we get mad. And that anger can lead to all kinds of terrible, horrible things that we do and experience. And what the writer of James is telling us, ask God for your needs to be met. And then the war within us ceases. Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you. Put your spiritual life as the highest priority in your life. Look to the divine for all the answers, all the healing. And of course, that will show up in many different formats and modalities. Put God first. Put your spiritual well-being first. And then we won't have to hurt others. And we won't have to allow ourselves to be hurt. But this requires awareness. Just briefly, I'm going to mention Tara Brach, a wonderful contemporary Buddhist teacher she gave us a simple acronym for what happens when we get emotionally triggered, and it's called RAIN, R-A-I-N. Recognize, allow, investigate, nurture. Say after me, recognize. Recognize something has happened and I'm not feeling right. Allow. Thank you. Allow it just to be where it is for a moment. Just, I'm feeling something. Investigate. What is this? Where is this coming from? And that investigation may take us to therapy. That investigation may take us to a class. That investigation may take us to a book that we read about a topic. Investigate. Nurture. Nurture. Give yourself love as a human being. These emotions are not wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. Allow it. So recognize something has happened. I've left my body. I'm out there having all kinds of weird experiences. I'm going to allow, and then that's what we do by allow is we're going to invite ourselves back into the bodily experience of the feeling. And it is uncomfortable when we're feeling sad, angry, or fearful. We don't want to feel that. We want to be someplace else, but allow it. Breathe through it. You know, what's the thing that will make you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy? This too shall pass. The emotions will flow through. Your anger will flow through if you take, and this, you don't have to use this, but this is a great way to do it. Recognize, allow, investigate. What's here? My friend Maggie Cole also has a favorite prayer. It's like, show me what's here. Show me what's here. Where am I? What can I do here? I need some direction. I need some understanding. And nurture. To love. Love yourself. I want to close just by honoring my mom for who she is. Last year, I think I shared it before, but I did a healing process with a mentor, and an ugly memory surfaced of when I was 3 years old and my mom was raging. I chose anger as my week to talk because I've struggled with angry people. Because my mom is an emotional person, and she had a flare of rage, and I was terrified, paralyzed by that at 3 years old, and kind of done some work around that. But I knew that memory was not suppressed. I remembered it forever. But it came up as something I could work on now and do some nurturing around it. And what I found happened this time with that memory was my awareness expanded to that scene. And I saw my mom at 26 years old, a young mom with 2 kids, trying to brush her teeth with Oreos, trying to clean a house, that just hard time. And she had lost her beloved mother a year and a half earlier, and they were close. She was in grief, and she had just done, and whatever I had done was more than she could handle in the moment. And I have held us both in healing. And my mom is still with us. And I've noticed in this last year, I haven't talked to her about this. If you're watching, Mom, I'm sorry to just put our laundry out there for everybody, but I love you. You're amazing. What I've noticed when I'm at my mom's house and we're talking, she's sharing things with me she's never shared before about her experience. Things that happened with my dad, things that happened with her childhood. She's not the villain in my hero's journey. She's another soul making her way, committed to her growth. and there is nothing but love flowing between us. What I want to offer to us all is that when we are willing to breathe, be with these emotional things that may feel negative, that may feel uncomfortable, if we're willing to do this gentle work around it, healing happens. And you will be given space to rise into more of who you are so that you can deliver the love of God in the way that only you can. Thank you for listening. Let's pray. So in this moment, I remember there is only one thing ever happening. It's the life of God. God, infinite, eternal, omniscient, omnipresent, omnibenevolent Spirit that is reality itself, that must give itself into form, into expression, in each of us, an expression of God's light, love, and power. And that is the truth. No matter what we experience on the human level, we are always light. Jesus said, "Don't you know you are the light of the world?" So I anchor this prayer in that truth, that each of us is the light of God. And as we take up this work of healing our emotions, healing our lives, healing our families, it is that light that shines through us that shows the way, shows us the steps, creates the opening for connection, for forgiveness. And what I know is that this work empowers and frees us to be more of that light that Jesus said we were. And so I speak a word of blessing on this journey of healing for everyone within the sound of my voice. I speak a word of patience for everyone who is on this journey. But I know that the outcome is assured. When we have set our sights and set our direction towards healing, healing happens. And I welcome the demonstration of that healing in our lives. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. I tell you this because I love you. In the 12 steps, there's a tradition. We don't teach or control, try to tell people what to do, but we share our experience, our strength, and our hope. And that's what I'm here to do. I know that there is so much hope for us to get better. If no one has told you today that they love you, I love you. God bless you. Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.